Hey guys, in this session let us learn how to iterate the environment variables which is set in a particular server over multiple databases. Okay, so if I have a server, if only one database is running in this server, it is very easy, right? So I can write any shell script as per my requirement, and I can just use this particular database using Oracle SID and Oracle Home, right? So when I set Oracle SID and Home, there are no other databases. I will only connect directly to this particular database. So what if there are multiple databases running on a server? Say for example, if I have 10 databases running in the same server, then I need to iterate, or I need to read all the information from all those 10 databases, right? So in that case, what we have to do? So we have to, so say for example, there are 10 databases in one server. Right? So something like this. So there are 10 databases in one server, right? So what we will do when we are going to connect to SQL Plus, so we export SID, Oracle SID, then we export Oracle Home, right? So this is what we do when we try to connect to the SQL Plus and execute any SQL statements inside SQL Plus. Or directly from the OS command line we can execute any SQL scripts, right? So in this case, there are multiple databases which will be having both SID and Oracle Home. So again, in this case there are multiple scenarios. So if all these databases are hosted on 19C, say for example only one Oracle Home, then that method will be somewhat easier, right? Since all these databases are on same home, what we need to do is only we need to change Oracle SID and we don't need to change Oracle Home. Oracle Home will be same for all these databases. But if two of these databases are on 12C and another two databases are on 21C and another two databases are on 19C and another two databases are on 11G, right? So if these kind of variable databases are there, so then we need to change Oracle Home also, right? So this is the high level view of iterating each and every databases in the same server. So we need to set the Oracle SID for the first database, Oracle Home for the first database, then we need to connect to SQL Plus. So when we set Oracle SID in Oracle Home, we will be able to connect to SQL Plus, and then we execute any SQL statements and get the results, store it in a file, either text file or LST file in the server, right? And then we go for the second one, we export SID, Oracle Home, then again connect to SQL Plus. So likewise we need to do for all these databases one by one. So we find one pattern, right? Since we cannot individually export Oracle SID and Oracle Home for every databases in a server, so here we need to create a loop, right? We already learned for loop, while loop, right? To iterate over each and every variables or any values, right? So we use this SID and Oracle Home inside the loop. So if we put these values inside the loop, so what the script does is it will automatically scan the SID and Oracle Home, and it will iterate over all these databases, and then it will connect to the SQL Plus one by one, then give you the results. So this is the high level view of looping the values of Oracle SID and Oracle Home, right? So here the flowchart will be something like this. So I first start the script, right? So then what I do? So then I just take a backup of the ORATab file. So how we iterate over the SID and Oracle Home using ORATab. So we have a file called ORATab in /etc directory. So this file contains SID and Oracle Home for all the databases, right? So I take backup of ORATab. Why? Because I cannot directly read this ORATab file every time using the script. So if in case there are any modifications in this ORATab, then if people or any DBA who is logging into the database cannot properly set the environment variables. So they may have some issues. So that's the reason I take backup of this ORATab. Then what we'll do? Then we'll scan the backup file of the ORATab, right? So here we will be having a loop, either for loop or while loop. Okay, so here I will be putting a while loop. Okay, so in this case, this what this while loop does is, this while loop scan for the entries SID and Oracle Home inside the ORATab file, right? And then, so if the SID is found, so if the SID is found, so then there is no issue. So automatically if this SID and Oracle Home are set, then it can connect directly to the database. And if the SID is not found, then what? Then we cannot do anything, right? So we need to either manually update the SID okay. Since we are relying on this ORATab file, whatever entries that is stored in the ORATab file will only be scanned, right? So if we have a database which is running on the server, but if that database environment variable is not present in ORATab file, then obviously the script will not set the environment variable for that particular database for which the ORATab entries are not updated. So we need to make sure that all the databases which are running on the server has ORATab entries before we write any script. Okay, so if it connects to the SQL Plus, then that's it. It will get the result and then we will stop the script and also the loop, right? So once so first it will start from here, so then while loop will scan all these databases and then it will go to this particular database, then again it will scan all these databases, so it will end here. So once it end here, loop also ends. Okay, so this is a high level view of scanning the ORATab entries and setting the environment variables for multiple databases for executing any script. Okay, so now let me just give you an idea of how we iterate this ORATab file. So this is the ORATab file. Okay, so I have just set some entries inside this ORATab file. We have only one database running on the server, but just assume that there are multiple databases which are running on the server, and I have added 2 more entries just for demonstration purpose. Okay, so here, so whatever required, so all these entries should be cleaned inside the ORATab file. So we need to clean up all these unwanted texts, right? So this is the ORATab file. So we have hash over here, we have some space over here, and we have multiple comments over here. So we are not bothered about these comments, right? And also we are not bothered about these colons, right? We just need only this Oracle SID and this Oracle home. So if it is one database, we don't need to bother. We just directly export Oracle SID and Oracle home inside the shell script directly. That was what we did, right? So if I just cat this user status.sh, this script, so here I directly exported Oracle SID and Oracle home and I executed the script, right? So I don't need to iterate over any databases. Why? Because only one database is running. So if multiple databases are running, we cannot export Oracle SID and Oracle home for all those databases. So consider that if there are 100 databases running, okay, so we cannot set Oracle SID and Oracle home for all those 100 databases inside the shell script. So that is kind of a repetition, right? So we are again and again we are not reusing the existing SID and home. So for that reason, to avoid repetitions, so we are using the loop. So we are following dry concept. So dry means don't repeat yourself. So we are not going to repeat Oracle SID and Oracle home inside the script 100 times if there are 100 databases. So So let me just create a shell script. Okay, so you can give any name to your script and set this particular bash directory. Okay, so then what we can do, so first we need to back up ORATab file, right? So what we do is we just cat this particular entries of ORATab into a new file. Okay, so then what we'll do, so let me just cat the ORATab file. So we don't need all these comments. So what we can do, we can just grep with hash and negate this hash value, right? So if I use -v, then I'm just selecting or reading the contents except the lines which are containing the hash symbol, or the rows inside this file which contains hash symbol. So wherever this particular command finds hash, it will ignore all those lines which are containing hash. So I print all the values except the lines which are containing hash. So now I could see that there are a lot of spaces inside this file, right? So I don't need those spaces as well. So again I will negate with space. Okay, so this particular symbol means space. Okay, so you just remember this. So wherever if you use this particular symbol, that means that you are either grepping the spaces inside the file, or either you are negating the spaces. So I'm just negating all the spaces inside the file. So now you can see that I have just filtered only the required lines. Okay, so this is one way. You can use grep 2 times, or what you can do is you can use egrep -v . So this is another way. Instead of using 2 greps, you can just use egrep 1 time and just use a pipe symbol to use multiple values inside this egrep. Okay, or another way is you can use grep -e, caps E. Instead of egrep, you can use greps -e. So both are same, right? So there are multiple ways that you can filter out the values, right? So I will go for grep -ev. Okay, so let me just copy and paste inside the shell script. Let me give permissions. First I take the backup, then I just filter out all the unwanted values and just print only the required ones. So now I got the required environment variables. So here what we need to do is we need to iterate over these 3 values. So consider that there are 3 databases running on the server. So I need to first iterate over this particular Oracle SID and its Oracle home, and then this particular the second one and the third one. But I don't want these colons, right? And I don't want this n, so these are unnecessary. So if I need to iterate over the databases, I just need only these two values, Oracle SID and Oracle home. So how can we separate these particular text? So let me just show you. So we have a Linux distribution called IFS, okay, which is called internal field descriptor. Okay, so I'll just take a separate session on this. Okay, as of now we are going to use this particular tool or utility to separate these particular values. Okay, so there are a lot of other ways that we can use. So this is not the only way to separate these values. Okay, so I will just show you this particular way to separate. Also you will be able to observe, so you can also use awk. This is another way, right? So awk -f, and I'll just use colon to separate these values with the colon, so that all these columns will be printed. And I will say print $1, $2. So now we can see that what this awk does is it has removed this particular colon, right? And it has printed only the Oracle SID and Oracle home for all the databases, right? So awk iterate over columns, so it will not iterate, but it will separate the characters which are given to it and print only the required values. So if I just blindly say awk print $1, so it is printing all the values, right? Why? Because this is considered as one single value. So what awk does is awk is scanning this particular column as a single value and it is printing all the values. So that's the reason I have used a separator to separate these particular Oracle SID and Oracle home, and then printed only the required values. So we can use awk to iterate over this Oracle SID and Oracle home using a for loop. But how you will iterate? That is the question here. So if I use a for loop, and just print all the values. So what this for loop does, it is scanning the Oracle SID, then Oracle home, then the second one, then the third one. But by using this for loop, what we cannot do anything, right? So what we need to do is we need to export Oracle SID and Oracle home. right? So if I just export $x directly and also I give something else, something like SQL plus /s sysdba $oracle home /bin So I have used this for loop to iterate over these values, right? This particular Oracle SID and Oracle home. But what this for loop does is it is scanning individual values and printing the results for all these 6 values, right? So if you are not understanding, let me just show you. So I am just using this for loop to iterate. So first what this for loop does is it is scanning this Oracle SID, okay, and then it is scanning this Oracle home separately for one time. Then for the third time it is scanning this particular SID, then fourth time it is scanning this particular Oracle home. So one by one it is scanning for all the values, but I don't need to iterate over Oracle SID and Oracle home. I just need only one iteration for these 2 values, right? So if I need to set the Oracle SID and Oracle home, I just need to scan only one time for this particular database for both Oracle SID and Oracle home. I don't need to individually scan Oracle SID and then set the set that value, right? So you could see that there are a lot of results over here, right? So what it is doing, so first it is setting Oracle SID, then it is setting Oracle home, then it is setting again for the second database, right? So instead of this, there is a more clean way to store these values inside an array so that it will be easy for us to iterate over multiple databases. Okay, so we can also use for loop to iterate over multiple values, but I am just showing you an example of what it is doing, right? So now let me just use a while loop, okay, while read variable. So this is reserved keyword, okay, while read is reserved keyword. So this is not only reserved keyword, we can also use only while, okay. So but currently since we are using IFS, so we are going to read the values and store all those values inside this X variable. So consider this X as a variable, okay. So we are just declaring empty variable and we are going to iterate over Oracle SID and Oracle home, and then we are going to store it on the X variable. So now I am going to use IFS. So this is the syntax. Okay, so once I use IFS, I need to read that particular value which I am going to use, and then store those values inside X. So this is the X variable, right? So this array is also a keyword inside this IFS. So we are using read-r-a and array, and storing the array values inside this variable called X. So here I am going to set variable called Oracle SID. I am going to store the first value inside this variable, and then I am going to store the second value inside this variable. So just remember this, okay? So this is not the only problem that we can solve with IFS. For any of the problem, you just remember these keywords, right? So you don't need to understand each and every function of this particular IFS to write any shell script. Just remember what this IFS does, that's it, right? So that you can use this anywhere. For solving any problem, you can use this, right? So if I have some other special characters instead of colon, I can use that particular special character like semicolon or comma or anything to separate the values. Okay, so you will be storing the values inside an array. Okay, I'll just explain array later. Okay, array stores a list of values, right? So here what I'm going to do is there are 6 databases, say for example. So here we have 3 databases, right? So first I'll store the SID and home, Oracle home of the first database, SID1 and home1. Then I need to store SID2 and home2 inside the array. So array stores a list of values. Okay, so then SID3. So consider this array as a bag or something, some storage, okay, to store a list of values. So we cannot individually iterate over SID and home for every time. So that's the reason we are storing the values inside an array. So here what I do is, first I read the SID of the first database. I'm storing the SID, all the SIDs of the databases inside array 0. So array 0 means it is the 0th value. 0th value is SID, right? So the index of the value is 0 here, and first value is Oracle home. So I am storing the value of the Oracle home inside the array 1. Okay, so let me just show you how it works. So at last what we do is, we will be reading the file which is needed, right? So that's the reason I am just using this particular file at last. Okay, so now I'll just remove this line. Okay, so instead of copying the whole Aura tab entry, I will just copy the filtered entries inside Aura tab new, and I'm specifying that file at last in this loop. Okay, so this is kind of feeding. So feeding in the sense, so this Aura tab new contains Oracle SID and Oracle home, right? It does not contain any hash or spaces. So whatever contents which are there inside this file will be fed, or it will be redirected inside this loop. Okay, so this is kind of reversing the values inside this file and feeding it inside this loop. That's it, right? So just remember this particular format. Okay, we don't need to understand all the technical terms. Okay, just be simple, just remember these keywords, and you can use this for any of the script. That's it. So instead of Oracle SID and Oracle home, I can store any other values inside the array for solving another problem. Okay, I will just show you how we can do that, but as of now we will focus on iterating over the multiple databases. So now let me just execute this script, and for showing you I will just echo Oracle SID and Oracle home, so that we'll understand what this script is doing. So I have not provided $, so since I need to print this variable, I need to specify $, to print that variable, right? So now we can see that it is printing the Oracle SID and Oracle home, then for the second one, then for the third one, right? So here I can do anything. So I can just connect to SQL Plus, okay, so here I will just pass an argument. Okay, I will just store the argument inside a script variable, and I can just directly use that script inside this SQL Plus, right? So let me just create some script. Status, db status. Okay, so let me use this iterdb and just pass this argument. Okay, so it is saying that unable to open script.sql. So let me just open the file. So here I have not passed the variable, so that's the reason it is showing. So this is a variable, right? Script is a variable, and I have given an argument inside the script, and then I have used that variable over here. Okay, earlier I didn't use this dollar symbol, so that's the reason this particular script is considered as a script file instead of variable. So now I have given dollar, so let me just again execute it. So it says that Oracle not available. So as we already know that only one database is running on this server, we could not get the status of that particular database, right? So here what it does is it is scanning the first particular value, Oracle home and Oracle SID. Then for the second time it is executing this particular line inside the SQL plus. So you could see that there is an error with SP2. So this means that this error is from SQL plus. So what we have to do is, so we need to exit SQL plus when we execute the script, right? So whenever we execute any SQL command with this particular script file, what it does is it will log into SQL plus, then execute the script, right? So once it log in, it will be executing the contents inside the script. So here what it does is, it is, instead of executing the SQL query inside the script, it is executing the environment variable directly. So that's the reason I'm just exiting SQL plus for every iteration. Okay, so now let me just execute the script. Yeah, since these two databases does not exist, so that's the reason it is sending error, Oracle not available. But for the third one, this database is running, so that's the reason I'm able to get the status of this database. Okay, so now you would have understood how to iterate over multiple databases which are running on the same server. So now I have just executed this single script, right, and got the status of 3 databases in one single execution, right? I have saved a lot of time checking the status of every databases running on the server, right? If there are 100 databases running on the server, it is really time consuming for a DBA to check the status of every databases by logging into all those 100 databases. So in those kind of scenarios, we can just create this shell script and just execute this one time, so that this script will do the job for the DBA, so that DBA can save a lot of time. They can focus on other useful areas instead of logging into every database, which is repetitive process, right? Also, we can give any script as an argument here, right? So here I have used dbstatus.sql, so I can also check the redo log files. Or status of the redo log, anything I can do. First I will check the name of the database, then I will print the redo log status for every database. So instead of using dbstatus.sql as an argument, I will pass this redo log as an argument. right? So this is another easy way to iterate over multiple databases with any kind of SQL query, right? Since first two databases are not available, I am not able to get any output, and third database is available, so that's the reason I am able to get the name of the database followed by the read log status. So is it simple? Right? It's too simple in one execution.